Good morning all. So again we would be going with modal verbs. We have already completed, we are done with can, could, shall, will. We are done with this in the modal verbs. So let us proceed further with the further things in this modal verbs. So now we would be going with, now let's understand with may. Fine, may. So when we are talking about may, to say may is a more formal way of communicating, may is more formal way of talking, and may is a more formal way of requesting. So when a person is using may, is talking more humbly, politely, and in a requestful manner. So when we are looking in for may, so let's please understand when would we use may and what are the rules that we need to follow. What do we need to mainly understand when we use the modal verb may during our conversation, during our talk? Fine. So now let's proceed further. So we can use may to ask permission, and however what we will take care of is, however, this is rather a formal part, formal way, formal and not used often. Usually people go with may and can. They use more of can, less of may when we are talking or when we are having a conversation. So again when we are having a conversation, may, when we are saying may is a more formal way of conversation. May is a more formal way of asking the permission. When we want to take permission, we say may. Fine. Then when we are going further, let me give you some example for it. When we are talking with the examples, may I borrow your pen? So again we are taking a request, we are requesting a person, may I borrow your pen? I am not saying can I borrow your pen. Again can I, when I am saying, it is in a demanding form that I am asking. When may is a more requesting form and a formal way of asking may I. So again may I borrow your pen. Second, let me give you one more example. Okay, may I go now? So may I go now? So it is I am taking a permission that may I leave, may I go now? Fine. So this is a better way of communicating. Next, when we are looking at, again when we are talking about, we use may, the second point that we need to take care of is we use may, yes, we use may to suggest something possible. So again when we are talking, we use may to suggest something is possible. Let us take the example. Okay, so when we are checking it out, it may rain later today. So I am again onto a thing, we are assuming it will rain, it might rain, it may rain. So again we say it may rain later today, not sure when, but we are expecting rains. So it may rain later today. Then let me give you one more example. Ravi may come with us. So we are not sure, but yes, he may come with us, he may be interested in coming with us. So we are talking about Ravi who may be interested in coming with us. So again this is something is possible that we are talking about when we use may. Next let us go with might. Like may we have might, the other modal verb might. Fine. And when we are talking about might, there are few things that we need to keep in mind and understand when we are talking about might. So now let me tell you, we use might to suggest small possibility of something, and when we are talking about second point, let us keep in mind, often we read that might suggests smaller possibility than may. Please, this is one very important point that we need to take care of, that when compared to may and might is used, might suggests smaller possibility than may. Fine, this is one thing that you need to remember. Again, there is in fact I would say little difference, and might is more usual than may. This is again one very important point that we need to take care of and understand, that there is in fact little difference. May and might has little difference, there is difference, but there is a little difference, and might suggests, might is more usual than may. We use more might instead of may. Can we use more when compared to may? Might and can are of more use again, but again we would understand it in detail further, so that you know all these points, may, might, can, all the three modal verbs we are more into clear with. So, I will clarify your those ideas too. And yes, so now when we are talking about the next point, we need to remember, okay, for this even let me give you example. Okay, it might rain this afternoon. So, again when we are looking into, fine, again when we are looking into, might is having smaller possibility than may, fine, and there is in fact little difference. Over here even we can use the word it may rain this afternoon, but now when we are talking, we are saying it might rain, I am not very sure, fine, the possibility I am not very sure of. So, I can use even may, I can use even might, but usually what we see is people use more of might than may, fine. We will further even understand the can, may and might, that difference too, fine. And then when we are looking further, let me give you, I might not go. Again when I say I might not go, I could even say I may, because less possibility when we are talking about. Something that we suggest is smaller possibility. So, again when it is of smaller possibility, there are chances of either this or this. So, again when we are talking of I might not go, then if my mind says I might go. So, again I might not go, fine. So, this is the thing that we understand. Next when we go with, okay, now again there is one more point that we need to remember while using might, and that is for the past we use might have, fine. For the past, for when we are going with past tense, fine, for anything that has happened in the past and we are explaining it, I might have done, I might have checked it, fine. So, let me give you the example for this. When we are talking about the example, I might have dropped it in the street. So, might be something which is missing, I am not sure, where is it? So, I am like I might have dropped it in the street, I am not sure. Again less possibility or smaller possibility, whatever you say it, I am not sure of, I assume. So, in that case I would say I might have, again might have we are using it because I am talking about the past tense, fine. Next when we are looking at, okay, let me give you another example. He might have tried to call while I was out. So, again when we are looking into, he might have tried to call while I was out. while I was out, he might have tried to call. I am not sure, he might have. Fine. So, again please try to understand when are we using might. He may have called. Again we do not know, there is a smaller possibility, but again we would, instead of saying may, we would say might. He might have called. He may have called, but again it does not sound very this thing. So, it might have, he might have called. Next let me go with, now let us please understand the difference in may and might when we are looking into may and might. So, again when we are looking, let us please understand how to use may and might, and how, where there should not be confusion while we are working with may and might. So, the first point that we would look into is, yes, please, first and the most important thing that we need to understand is may and might indicate an uncertain future, Why uncertain? Because we already first itself we know one thing is smaller possibility. So, the same thing, uncertain future when we talk about. And then other important one more point that we would take care of is these two, may and might, these two are synonymous. These are synonymous words. Fine. These are synonymous modal verbs. So, now let me tell you how would we use it. Let us take the example. Fine. Okay, the same thing, it might or may, rain tonight. Fine, the first thing that we say, we can even use may, it may rain tonight, it might rain tonight. Fine. So, again both go synonymously, any one even if used it is not wrong. Fine. Second example, let me give you a better one. Okay, when we say this thing, this may or might be a bad idea. So, now when we are again talking, we are you know, because I did not like, I said it might be a bad idea, but might be some other person liked it. So, when we are into this thing, we cannot say it is a bad idea, it may not be. Again, so let us give it as it may be a bad idea. Next thing that we are, when we are understanding it, so let us please keep one more thing in mind. The next point what we need to again remember is may or can. Please again remember, this is may or can, not might. Now we are talking is about may or can. Fine, may or can gives, when we are talking about this, gives instructions or permission. This gives instruction or permission. So, now when we are taking it, let us go with the example. You may or can now board the flight. So, please understand this is again very important, you may or can. So, we can even use, you can board the flight, you may board the flight, both it is not wrong, both are correct in their own way. Fine. So, again let us remember this, guys. Let me give you one more example. Okay, now let me give you one more example. Okay, you may or can begin the exam in 10 minutes. So, again in this case, you may or can begin the exam in 10 minutes. Your exam time is coming, so you may begin the exam. Fine. So, again guys, the difference with may and can gives instructions or permission. Please remember, this is very important, and if you understand it, it will make your knowledge and understanding more easier. Fine. So, it is good to learn this. Next, when we are talking about, okay, now one more important point that we would be talking about is in yes no. Okay, in yes no questions that make a request, you can use may or can. Please remember this is very important, that yes, for yes no questions, fine, for the yes no questions and yes no questions that make request, that which are making request, fine, you can use both may or can, both can be used, fine. So, now when we are looking into, please let us understand, and one more thing that we need to take care is may is more polite, which we have already read and understood, that may is more polite. Let us go with the example. Okay, may or can I see your driving license? Okay, again it is, as it is a question, may I see your driving license? Can I see your driving license? See, when a police person is asking us, he is naturally not going to request us for it. So, he would not say, may I see your driving license? He would say, can I see your driving license? And if a friend or a colleague of ours is asking, would say, may I see your driving license? Or if some unknown is asking, would say is, may I see your driving license? The person is not going to request us. Fine. Okay, next point that we would look into is, again this is an important point, you can use might in place of may. When we are talking about, we can use might in place of may or can. Okay, we can use this. We can use might in place of may or can. How? Let me tell you this with an example. Let me make you understand. How could it be? May, can, might I be of some assistance? May I be of some assistance? Can I be of some assistance? Might I be of some assistance? The right way I would say is, I might be of some assistance, we can say. Instead of saying might I be, it would be I might be of some assistance. So, again how we use it. So, these three words, all the three modal verb can be used in such requesting form again. Fine. And let me give you one more example for a better understanding. Same thing, may, can and might, we offer you a suggestion. May we offer you a suggestion? Can we offer you a suggestion? We might offer you a suggestion. Again it goes in this way, but yes, all the three modal verbs can be used. I hope we are able to understand them and able to work it out. Fine, and I hope this helps you in a better understanding. Now, let me now go with one more important point, and important this modal verb must. So, when we are talking about must indicates as an obligation. First point when we would look at, first point is must indicates an obligation. For example, when we take it, you must see this movie. So, we can, whom we can compel, we can force, we can talk to. We say, you must watch this movie. Fine. Next example when I am giving it, let me say, he must see the doctor immediately. Fine, he must see the doctor immediately. So, in this thing when we are saying it is an obligation that yes, it must to be done. In such cases we would go the first point. Second point, when we say it, so must also indicates assumptions or possibility. So, now when we are giving an example, let us look at, fine. So, let us, my watch must be broken. So, when I am talking about, I am clearly saying and I am sure, or when I am giving that assumption or the probability, when I am like not sure and I am like yes, I am assuming my watch must be broken, might be something such happen that my watch must be broken, fine. And or let me give you a better example, okay, he must have done that before moving to Delhi. So, might be something which was important to be done, fine, he must have done, we are not sure whether he has done it or not, probability he must have done, we are assuming it, fine. So, again he must have done that before moving to Delhi. Next, when we are looking at in the same thing, must, when we are looking at in WH, fine, this important point even please take care of. In WH question, must is an obligation and can be replaced with the modal should, fine. Again the must modal verb must can be replaced by modal verb should in WH questions, fine. And WH questions, must is an obligation, must is an obligation and can be replaced with modal should. Must is showing the obligation in WH question. How? Let me show you with the example. Fine, example, let us take it. When should oblique must we be there? So, when we ask someone, we have to go somewhere, how would we say when should we be there or when must we be there? Anything can be used, this among these two can be used. Next, when we are talking about when, who should I, let me take it, who should or must I talk to? So, again when we are looking at, it is who should I talk to or who must I talk to, both the things, nothing is wrong. Then next let us go with, fine, again please understand this, must sometimes can be used to form rhetorical question when you want the person to stop doing something. How? Let me give you with the example, fine. So, now when we are understanding it, must you make so much noise, please be quiet. So, again when we are see this, when we are using must you make so much noise? Is it necessary that you people make so much of noise? Please be quiet. So, it is again where must is used. Again next thing that we will take care of is, now be careful about the difference between mustn't and don't have to. Again, how would this be used and how would this be worked? Mustn't and don't, fine. Again don't have to or mustn't have to, fine. How would we use that? Now let me give you the example, and again let us remember, mustn't means it's not allowed, fine. Now it's bad idea or it's a bad idea. Now let us give example, I don't have to get up daily, get up early. Fine, get up early every morning. Now we have used this don't. Again mustn't when we are using it. Please remember, you mustn't eat so much chocolates. You will be sick. So again when we remember, please remember you mustn't eat so much chocolates and you don't have to eat, you don't have to get up early morning. So again when and how this is used, even that difference that we need to understand. So guys, let me please again remind, till now that we have learnt about modal verbs. We have completed all the modal verbs till now. Can, could, shall, will, difference in shall, will, may, might and must. So we have learnt about all these modal verbs and I hope you have understood this well. And so further we would be going further with few more modal verbs which would help you in a better understanding. Fine, and this would make your communication part more clear on how to use the modal verbs and how could they help us out in communicating, speaking in a better manner. Fine, I hope you have a happy learning. Have a great day. Thank you.